What's good, everybody? Welcome to Boompa World, Call of Duty Black Ops. What a time to be 12, 2010, Call of Duty's prime.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
I remember this ad they had for it. There's a soldier in all of us. It was more inspiring than any propaganda the army ever put out. I was ready to strap in and enlist by any means necessary. Judging by game chat, a bunch of kids did the same. I luckily got the Xbox 360 for my birthday and got to experience a more complete version of the game full of DLC and maps. After begging mommy to buy it for me, of course. Broke ass. But some kids may not have been so fortunate and were banished to, say, the DS or Wii version. I had Modern Warfare 2 mobilized on the DS and it was definitely something. Same with Black Ops. Everything's definitely a bit off, something ain't right. But some people forget the Wii had the zapper, a whole gun peripheral, a whole bobber so accurate it actually gave my military vet nephew flashbacks and he couldn't play this game with me when he came over recently. Nah, I'm completely lying, but this gave shooting games a different experience and I'm going to see if this glorified GameCube port of Black Ops is worth our time. After breaking out of the menu's chair like any good Black Ops gamer and making sure graphic content and subtitles were on, we started her up. It was more or less a demake of Black Ops with all of its main bullet points with like crayon drawings filling in the cracks. DLC was promised at release and in the manual, but never saw the light of day. These dudes on the forums were lying their ass off 12 years ago. Lying. This was also the only Wii Call of Duty to have zombies. Good old Kino. But the main draw today for us is the campaign. We're gonna dive into that shit. It starts off, it allows us one smack of the Cuban cigar, the old blunt, so we know our soldier is high as because these graphics aren't how I remembered. What in the hell? All jokes aside, the first mission is 1961. We're undercover in Cuba trying to kill Castro, the Bay of Pigs. Our drink was rudely interrupted and I finally got to use the zapper. At first it's definitely disorienting, my aim was trash. Luckily they gave a grenade launcher so I could just blow up the old paddy wagon before the cops could get out and just kind of be reckless and aim wherever. Starting with grenade launchers and shotguns allowed the aim to be more loose and spread out, so it was easy to get used to it. There's a lot of buttons you need to use. Sometimes though your fingers might feel a little awkward, like you shake the zapper to reload, then you use a lot of buttons on the Wiimote, A to run, C on the nunchuck to crouch and go prone, the D-pad to melee and change weapons, but aiming and shooting is still satisfying with the zapper. It's just a lot sometimes. Your hands might be confused playing Twister for half a second. The mission pretty much ensued how I remember on 360, besides Wood's haircut looking more Tom Hanks-like. We rode a zip line and took in the beautiful view. I did a Wii nunchuck assassination. It felt too real. I had to drop the zapper and stare at my cold, murderous hands. Yeah, the gameplay was actually satisfying though. Call of Duty campaigns are notoriously easy, even on like regular difficulty or harder. So it felt like more of a challenge. The aspect of moving down a linear path, clearing out every enemy just kind of plays nicely to this control scheme. Makes it feel like an arcade game with high production value instead of just like a generic first-person shooter story. There was a whole bunch of guns to pick up to try out, so I never got bored like in Link's crossbow training, using the same fucking bow the whole game. And moving from action-packed sequence to the next led us to the epic slow-mo assassination of Imposter Castro. We sprinted through the 2D image bamboo or sugarcane or whatever this shit is, and while making our great escape, I'm shooting the machine gun. These assholes park on the airstrip, which gave me no other choice but to hop out and save the squad. What a sacrifice. And I would have probably just died with the gang because we got transported to a Russian prison camp, Vorkuta, as payment for this weird little under-the-table deal between Dragovich and the real Castro. I came in with low expectations and the game has exceeded them a bit. This breaking out of jail mission was pretty lit. Seeing Reznov from World at War and this level of immersion, the vibration of the Wiimote and the zapper and the explosions all around you, did make me feel more drawn in. I really might have PTSD after this.
My God. What did they do to you, Mason?
What didn't they do?
I felt like a true comrade yelling for freedom, executing the escape plan with the Russians and learning real sacrifice. Yeah, everybody else can die. I understand the virtue of sacrifice. Let me live though. I had this weak ass pistol most of the mission, but they gave me an explosive crossbow to fuck the camp up, and then I pulled out the death machine, just going crazy to make it out. There are plenty of manufactured close calls, and I also died a good bit too. Enemies are everywhere, and with the zapper's aim, I'm just a lot more loosey-goosey. I escape eventually, but my heart is broken. Reznov doesn't even make it with me. Or does he? Yeah. Each mission is cut in the interrogation scenes that are the same room as the main menu, which is a cool touch. Where Mason, a CIA assassin that has the numbers in his head, his life, leading up to how he got in this chair. It was cool how they used a lot of real footage and historical figures mixed with their own guys. Like, our next mission, we go to the Pentagon, meet some historical faces from junior year of high school. Tweak out, we almost kill Kennedy.
I'm told that you are the very best that we...
Reminded me of that, like, how I feel when that yeet comes on. That's terrible. I love these little action movie ass quotes too. That's how I describe this game in a nutshell. It's like a 80s action movie for the Wii. I liked how I saw glimpses of the 5 zombies map in this cutscene. Still sucks this isn't on the disc like every other home console version. And yeah, you don't even unlock it at the end of this campaign. You don't even get that cutscene where they're all... Most badass part for no reason. I don't know if it was Black Ops nostalgia for my days of yesteryear, but this story is such a homey banger. Well set up with motives and emotion. They don't make them like this anymore, I fear. Somehow Black Ops 4 barely even has a story mode. Blasphemous. But the gameplay, voice acting, even the soundtrack was stirring together to make such a quality experience. After chilling during a long ass loading screen, we try to find Dragovich or Kravchenko or someone to take some of these bullets at this USSR rocket station. We knock out some guards and steal their fit, but not before one of our friends is compromised. Weeva! The voice of Ice Cube gives us recon info throughout the game.
X-rated whiskey. Hostiles in sight. Taking them out.
And we maneuver through the base, clearing out rooms and using the explosive crossbow again. Topped off with saving our friend by flying through the window on a fucking zipline and shooting his little wiener guards a couple times. There's even a segment where we had to beat the clock and stop this big ass rocket from launching. An asset I remember them using on this multiplayer map Radiation and the zombie map Ascension. Simple gunfights on the 360 version that feel like padding or just made more enjoyable here because every battle kind of feels earned. The rocket ends up launching and we have to use these Valkyrie missiles prototypes to blow it up before it goes Death to America mode. Using the control stick on the nunchuck for certain things like this or other vehicles was a lot more choppy feeling than I remember in the other version. But yeah, our big bad guys escaped before we could kill anybody important. We burned his limo though, so that's tough for him. But yeah, after this mission, like any white man of age in the 60s, we headed to Nam for answers. Unfortunately, all we got was this generic mission with trench warfare. Yeah, beyond the lush green environments attempting to shine on the Wii hardware before burning up, this level didn't have many memorable moments. They at least had that copyrighted going to war music in the background in the cutscenes.
Read it, roll out that record, and play it on the air. Like this one, Fortunate Son.
Kicking these oil drums down the hill at these people was kind of cool too. I accidentally actually let Woods die here, but good thing the game has do-overs. After theatrically landing this helicopter, we continue our Nam tour, this time with a Spaz 12 with Dragon's Breath flaming rounds, I don't know. They also gave us the Commando, which is one of the best Black Ops guns, just hard as hell. So it was fun to mop the floor and run through this close combat level through the torched Hue City. It was super chaotic, and it was here I noticed how bad the Zapper's controls were with certain weapons. It was super noticeable with the machine guns in the game on the car or the stable ones. They had insane sway and what felt like input lag. Skill issue, I'm sure. And yeah, sometimes reloading was kind of annoying too, but a lot of times I needed to shake the shit out of the nunchuck to get it to work. But I figured it out later on. We were dropping airstrikes on the town square, and Reznov even showed up out of nowhere to help us get some important documents on whatever this freak Dragovich is doing.
I thought you was dead.
We make it out and head to Kowloon, this time as Hudson, Mason's CIA handler who's been watching him since he's been freed from Vorkuta. Then we press the Z button to torture a guy. I remember really loving the aesthetics and colors of this level, but the Wii version is super drowned out, doesn't really do it justice. This place even had a cool DLC map in the multiplayer. Mid-interrogation of the guy who's formulating this Nova 6 death gas, we get bombarded and have to run around on cool, moody, rainy rooftops and through little tunnels, and luckily this dude is strapped, so we get to dual-wield Uzis, which was cool, and then we get the Grim Reaper and blow some cheeks open, but then the guy gets his brain's blown open right in front of us, all over our zapper. What the hell? The next mission takes us back in time as Reznov this really broke the story open and showed the evil like the three antagonists were capable of and what we were really going up against.
Dragovich, Stein, Kravchenko, all must die.
But he told me what they did.
It was nice to see the crew from World at War back in this mission, told by Reznov in a prison campfire story time. We have to take Steiner alive, which Reznov hates because why would he want to work with a Nazi? Anyways, it's a snowy Arctic Circle level where we get the PPSH and a plethora of other World War II era guns that haven't been in the game yet. We clear out a generic compound and take Steiner to Dragovich unharmed.
Do not point that weapon at me, Russian dog!
Reznov is saying how he regrets this, which is understandable, and he's trying to implant his revenge and dreams on us to fix it. We walk through a silo of WMDs, and for some psycho reason, Dragovich tests the Nova 6 gas on some of his comrades, including Dmitri, who was like the main character in the last Call of Duty game, so it's pretty fucked up. So, rest in peace. That's some type of fan service, damn. The evil of the Reich lived on after this moment, and we ain't cool with that. The next level had Crash Bandicoot environments, from boats on the river to lush forestry. Not much stood out until we went down into the tunnels. This part was sweet. This like scary, poorly constructed clay pathway of claustrophobia showed Reznov, and while our buddy Swift was lecturing us about staying focused, he got caught lacking.
Mason, you gotta keep your shit.
Let's go.
Yeah, this was one of the most enjoyable spots of the game. Nerve-wracking and quick reactions. It felt super intense, dark and dingy. It had a good atmosphere. Is this right here an asset they used in the moon map? I don't know. We jump out that bitch, dig out the dirt Minecraft style, and get out on that helicopter. Before we can go to Laos and chase down Kravchenko, the interrogator wants to shame us and say how we've been brainwashed and things aren't what they seem. Who hasn't been brainwashed at this point?
Sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
Shit. The numbers are taking over our brain, but the story still got a story. Laos is a pretty straightforward mission until we get caught bad with our pants down by Dragovich and with no ammo to save Woods. It hurts. So now we're prisoners of war again. Hudson's playing Rambo in the Ural Mountains, so we get to play as him looking for Steiner and any leads to help destroy Nova 6. But yeah, the highlights of this level include the playstyle. You do recon from like a SR-71 Blackbird in space, commanding your squad, and then you like zoom down all fast to play as them after a loading screen. It felt unique. It showed how different sects of the military work together, even though I don't give a shit. Even though the minigame was super simple, I mean. They also used the nuke countdown sound effect from Modern Warfare 2. All it needed was the guy yelling, "Tactical nuke incoming!" The Silence AUG was always fun to use, especially with its custom little ACOG scope, and ending the snow mission by jumping off a cliff avoiding an avalanche. What else would you expect? This is the action game with every action scene. So many fucking helicopter crashes and jumps and zip lines and diving and windows breaking, crashing through doors, just slapping you in the ass with action, all on your Nintendo Wii. Are you kidding me? We discover at the end of this mission there are sleeper agents all around the US waiting to release Nova 6 and make everyone die from the nerve agent in the air. Steiner reveals it's just 36 hours away. Back in Prisoner of War land, we see our boy Bowman die.
You don't scare me. Communist piece of shit.
Our teammate, rest in peace. He didn't even get to play this game of Russian roulette that Woods here sure enjoyed. After it was our turn in roulette, the escape scene was well choreographed. I couldn't help but just be wowed, like I was the same 12-year-old impressed by all the corny bullshit that dragged me in back then. We get out, we get in the fucking chopper. We're not only shooting but steering, and we run straight to Kravchenko's office and hunt him down. He was camping waiting on us though, and he ended up taking Woods down with him, which was sad and just painful. I lost my boys in this mission, and now we only got Reznov left, my bestie, right? After we get Kravchenko, he magically shows up and reiterates his agenda, that Kravchenko, Dragovich, and Steiner all must die. It would have been nice if he pulled up in time to save Woods. But yeah, shit was really starting to hit the fan. We go rogue and head to Rebirth Island to kill that weak-ass Steiner, even though Hudson and the military want him alive so we can find the numbers station. We make our presence known on the island by interrupting this guy's elevator speech and run through an area that was used in the Zombie Map 5. You could run around in the Pentagon's basement, I think. But here it's like a bunch of corridors and experiments going on with monkey sound effects. And then we get to the part me and my friend used to quote in 6th grade all the time.
My name is Victor Resno, and I will have my revenge!
And that he did. He got his revenge. But right after this, our interrogator blows our mind, saying we killed Steiner, we went into the mission by ourselves, and that Hudson, our handler, witnessed it with his own eyes. And right when he says that, we go through the same mission but through Hudson and his crew's perspective, and they had to use a lot more firepower to get in. It starts off as a tank mission, and then you hop out and get to fight in the Nerve Toxin Nova 6 gas. They went through it. But yeah, this is another spot that should have been awesome, but was held back by the thermal scopes, wonky controls, and dimmer coloring. Our suit gets punctured a few times. I catch a 4-piece combo in the staircase, and we eventually get through what was probably the most hectic mission up to this point. We see the reality from Hudson's point of view, and how Mason has just been going lone wolf mode, and Reznov hasn't even been there the whole time. The interrogations have all really been since this moment, and it's Hudson and Weaver grilling Mason to try and find the number stations before it's all too late. For some reason, Mason goes sicko mode and when Hudson tries to break us out so we can talk, and I think it's like the moment he really realizes Reznov's dead and his mind control flashbacks are just fucking glitching his system out. It seems we're a less successful sleeper agent and responded to the numbers sporadically. They tried to get us to kill Kennedy, as Mason here is like Oswald compromised and shit. That's the guy who gets credited with the assassination of JFK. It seemed Reznov installed his own ideas over the numbers somehow, and we've been hallucinating him throughout the game as a result. Even caused our buddy's death in the tunnel, which was a crazy reveal they spent 2 seconds on. That's a cool moment. But yeah, we jog our memory with less electric volts and understand the number translation finally. And right when we say Cuba, Hudson goes sunglasses mode, and we're headed over
Cuba.
The final mission is on the Rusalka, the same boat Mason saw at the start of the game after killing the fake Castro. It's the site of the numbers broadcast and more. I don't know if it was Russian interference or what, but my controller kept glitching out at the start of this mission, causing me to run off the cliff a few times. But yeah, clearing out the boat, it's hijacked in Black Ops 2, it's lit. I felt like I was finally fully valid at aiming, throwing grenades, the whole nine. I was really used to the controls and nothing really felt off anymore. Beneath the numbers station was a whole submarine fleet and deployment center for an attack on America to follow the sleeper agents. They had a whole fucking kind of good plan. But yeah, we tear through the command center and get to turn off the station ourselves and get greeted with the final big meanie of the game, Dragovich. But yeah, he played a little too much and ends up getting drowned in his sinking ship, with a little help from Mason, of course. The Navy was set to blow the whole thing up, but he needed to confirm the kill to be sure, since he didn't that last time in the limo. And yeah, we get out from underwater and they're like, yeah, we win the war. And for the first time in the game, Mason can fucking chill for like 2 seconds. The credits roll, and now instead of getting to play as JFK in a new zombies map, we actually just get the opening cutscene from the other games, but played here. I loved this little Photoshop they do of Mason the day of JFK's assassination at the end, which I feel like puts it up to interpretation, especially because the agent Oswald compromised and Moment Dragovich said like
to make you kill my own president.
I like how the game had the conspiracy theory interwoven into the story and just played so much with paranoia. One of the most memorable shooting games of all time, the culmination of everything we've known to make the most macho military shooter they could, but also with like a cool ass story with conspiracy theories and shit. The Wii version is not better, but it does give it like such a new experience. It feels like a different game. I'm happy to say Black Ops is a banger, and if you're a fan of this game like my age, grew up on it and haven't gotten to experience it on the Wii, it's definitely worth a try. The multiplayer these days is harder to access, but still possible if you watch the dude's long-ass tutorial and really feel like it. Leave the link in the description for that. But yeah, that was where I spent most of my time as a kid, along with the zombies. The zombie mode sadly suffered the most here, as it's only like one map and like 1/13 of the content compared to the other version, but here it's still really special. Kino is one of the easiest maps on the other Black Ops versions, so getting humbled by the Zapper and Wii version was refreshing and gave a new challenge. And I mean, not that great of an experience overall, but there's some different guns in the box compared to the other versions, and the precision in running around in regular zombies is preferred, but it was still really cool to check it out. This game is just neat as hell, and I'm glad the Switch has continued the legacy of the Wii Zapper, usually having gyro controls on most shooters, or at least it's expected. So it seems even years later the technology is still used. To me, at the end of the day, it does feel like a bit of a novelty that I couldn't see myself gaming for tens of hours on, but the Black Ops Wii Port is still special. I enjoyed pretty much every moment beyond my skill issues, and looking past a few mild inconsistencies, this is Black Ops through and through. The story's in its full glory, same with the music, maybe a bit more crunchy to work on the Wii. I'm glad I took the time to give this game a chance, as a lot of people seem to use it as a joke, punching bag, and don't really want to sink their teeth into the unique experience and just want to call it trash, or look at how shitty this version is. But yeah, hopefully this isn't what Activision means when they promise to bring Call of Duty to Switch. But yeah, that's all we got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this and went down memory lane. And you know, I feel like this game is overjudged. It's like the ugly duckling version of Black Ops. Yeah, Wii COD is valid, boys. Quit hating. And remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you guys next time. Holy shit. Holy shit.